meeting of the Board of Supervisors of Elections to order. It is Monday, July 7th, 2025 at 3 p.m. This is a virtual special meeting. And I'll move on to roll call. I'm present, Eileen Leahy, Chair. Debbie Atzik.
Here.
Leah Mercer.
Present.
Okay, we're also joined by Regina Eldridge, Watkins Eldridge, City Clerk Teresa Buccalo, who is the Election Administration Assistant, and Ashley Leonard, who is with the Office of Law. And we also have some guests today also. So right now we have David Garris as a guest, and I think we said Rich, and then
and Dan Altman.
And Dan Altman. Great. Okay. We have a couple, this meeting was originally going to be June 30th. So we're working off of that agenda, but we do have some additional things that need to be added to the agenda. So I'd like to have someone put a motion that we add a couple of attachments that need to be reviewed. One is the regular mail-in ballot instructions, and the other is the Annapolis ballot packet. I believe those are the only two. Is that correct, Regina?
I'm sorry, I had to take a call, but yes, you are correct.
Okay.
So motion to add 2 items to the agenda, the mail-in ballot instructions and the Annapolis ballot packet. Is that what you said?
Yeah, in the Annapolis packet.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. There any other items, Regina, that needed to be added?
No.
Okay. All right. So those have been added, and we'll include them under new business.
Can we talk about one thing before you guys start going down your agenda? We do have a petition for an unaffiliated candidate that we need you guys to review like ASAP. Because we're getting close to our July the 28th deadline. So we need David offered us 2 dates, and one of them is they're both Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. So we need you guys to come up with a date where the county can assist us to review the signatures. And Eileen, just for your own information, the gentleman did transfer all of his information over to the city forms, and Mr. Lyles is going to jump on the call at some point, and he said that they were sufficient.
Okay, so is this a new item for the agenda or?
No.
Okay. But we have to talk about.
You need to talk. We need a date for your next meeting.
Okay, so you're saying Tuesday or Wednesday of this week?
Yes, David, do you want to have any input as to the times that you would like for us to come? Because this is something we have to do at the county building like we did for Mr. Kunha, I think that's his name. Yeah.
Our team is flexible, so anytime after 9 a.m., I think we can accommodate you.
Can it be done virtually? Can someone attend virtually?
I don't think so. Dan, can you answer that one? Do we have the ability to do a VPN? Don't think so. I'll check on it, but I don't think so. I think they have to be here.
Yeah, Eileen, remember we asked that question last time. I think Mr. Kunha, somebody on his campaign wanted to attend virtually, and I think they told us that that wasn't available at that time.
All right, well, I was just asking it again.
Who is the candidate?
I don't have his, I'm sorry, we've had meetings all day long today. I don't have his packet in front of me, but Eileen, do you remember what his name is? Because I don't right offhand.
It's Tom Creek. He wants to run as unaffiliated in Ward 1. All right, well, Liam and Debbie, what's your availability Tuesday or Wednesday?
This was like This was last time we did this, it took like 3 hours-ish.
Mhm.
Okay.
If those dates don't work, David, can you suggest another date? If Tuesday or
We're-
Wednesday doesn't work, because that's a little bit of short notice for everybody to.
We're flexible, so we can do it the next week. Same days.
What about Friday?
Friday's fine.
Okay.
Friday would work best for me.
Let me see. I can't do Friday.
So
Friday.
Friday, July the 11th.
That'd be fine. That's what you prefer.
I think Debbie's checking her
9
calendar.
a.m.
Friday works best for me.
I can't do it that early. I've got a I row 4 times a week in the morning, and we're loading boats that day, but I could do it like late morning through the till mid-afternoon.
Sorry,
Because
what,
it takes like an hour. I mean, it takes by the time we get there, I could do like 11
can you
Friday.
do that, Liam?
Yeah, probably. I have a meeting back.
Or 12. I mean, it could be later. I won't be home till mid-morning, and then I have a 5 o'clock thing that day.
Okay, so if Liam can't make it, since
What-
Debbie's a Republican and I'm a Dem, can just the two of us do it?
How about 2:30 on Friday?
Debbie, can you do 2:30 on Friday?
Yes.
David, can your
It
group
shouldn't
do
take
it?
more than a couple of hours, right?
Right. Well, it took us about 3 hours last time. Is that going
know.
to be enough time start at 2:30?
We'll be faster this time. I mean,
Uh,
if we could leave at 5, if we're done by 5, that should be okay for me.
If you run over oh yeah, well, if she has to leave, you still have a quorum with 2 people, Eileen.
Correct, but I thought that it's best if we have a Republican and a Dem.
You just need a quorum.
Okay. So David, is 2:30 too late?
We can make it work. We can make it work. We've got to get it done, so. We can, if we get the pages before, we can probably knock it out in less than 3 hours.
We can make sure you get those today.
Okay, that'd be perfect.
Okay.
So 2:30 works for you, Liam?
yeah, let's do that.
All right, so 2:30 on the 11th.
I'm thinking there's going to be more too, right? I've heard there's more independents running.
We only deal
The
with
only
facts
one
in
we
our
have.
office until we get it.
Right. I'm just saying we're probably going to have to do this 1 or 2 more times.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, let's do this 2:30 on Friday. Sounds like a plan.
2:30 on Friday the 11th. So you guys need to make a motion to have a special meeting at that time, please.
Motion to have a special meeting at 2:30 on Friday, July 11th, to review Tom Creek's application for candidacy as an independent or unaffiliated candidate.
Second.
So moved. I'm sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so moved. Okay. All right, anything else, Regina?
Yeah.
No. Wait a minute, hold on one
Real
second.
quick, when did Mr. Creek submit his materials?
Mike looked at them on Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, so I guess that's a heads up that as these 1, 2, 3 more come in, it's gonna be, crunch time to have to meet again and again and again.
Well,
Yes, ma'am.
we'll get there when we get there.
'Cause,
All right,
yeah.
next on the agenda is comments submitted. We had a request for live testimony for, from Michelle Whitaker. So if we want to put her on,
She is not currently present, Madam Chair.
She is not.
Yeah, can I just say one thing? When it
Yeah.
comes to Ms. Whitaker, she wants to speak on a subject that's going to be on your agenda on the 17th. Because the city council referred the legislation that she's speaking of to you, and it's going to be on your agenda for the 17th. Just want to give you a heads up before she comes on.
All right, well, we'll just go ahead and proceed then. Was she aware that this was a special meeting at 3 o'clock?
Yes, that's what her form said.
Okay, all right. All right, let's, Josh, if you just let us know if she calls in, okay?
Will do.
All right, let's move on to approval of the minutes. These are for April 17th, 2025.
I move approval of the minutes of April 17th, 2025 as written.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All right, Regina, you want to give us an update?
I basically kind of did that when I was telling you about Mr. Tom. No, I think the rest of the things Dave is going to cover when you go down your agenda, so I don't have anything else.
Okay, do we have an MOU signed yet?
No. But we're getting bits and pieces. We're moving. We're doing good. We're on the same team.
All right, next item on the agenda under new business is certificate of candidacy, Ellen Moyer for Alderwoman, Ward 6. I understand that Ms. Moyer has requested that her application be removed. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
How do they do that? Is that in writing or just a phone call?
She sent the email, since you guys didn't approve her certificate of candidacy, she can just tell us not to process it. And that's what she did in an email.
Okay.
Okay. All right, moving on to Anne Arundel County request for approval from the City of Annapolis Board of Supervisors of Elections for the following items. Is this, do we want to go through this with David, or David, did you want to speak first about a number of things, or how did you want to work this?
I can speak. So to give you a bit of a background as to where we are in our schedule, you asked about the MOU. We are working with the State Board of Elections on the to get your MOU finished. They have the pieces that they're going to put in their MOU, and once we get their draft, we can create our draft on the local end. But we do have from last year, we do have the roles and responsibilities document that was the appendices on our previous MOU. I've been using that as our election calendar. Keep everything moving because we're not going to miss any dates. Our next upcoming date is the 17th of July. That's about 30 days before your voter registration deadline. We want to send a mailer to all of your registered voters who are eligible to vote in the next election, basically letting them know these are your polling places. You guys didn't change any of the polling places from the previous election, so that's great, but we will let everybody in the city know what their municipal polling place is, what the dates of the primary and the general election are, and then we'll also provide them with an application for a vote by mail ballot and a return envelope. We have the post office box already procured. Thank you to Regina. And our team has the key. So once the applications go out to the voters and the voters start mailing them back, our team will be stopping by the post office box to pick up the applications, and we'll process them in empty voters to get everybody their ballots. So right now we are on track for the election. Like I said, we're on track for our first major milestone. And what we'd like you to do today is to approve the application for mail-in ballot. And then we have some of the other documents. I believe the document with the date and the dates and the polling place location is for your approval as well. And these will go out in the mailing that we've got scheduled. So that mail packet will be number 10, the outgoing envelope, a page that has their polling place location and the election dates on it, the application for a mail-in ballot, and then a return envelope. So it'll be 4 pages and 4 documents in that mailing. Any questions?
You know, I
Those-
don't, go ahead.
I'm sorry, those documents were in the email that I sent to you earlier. If you scroll down, you'll see everything that David was just speaking of. And we did review, he sent the documents over. We made some minor adjustments. So David, thank you for that. And then, so that's what you'll see in the first set. And then in the second set, you'll see the finals. That's why you have 2 sets of the same
Okay.
document. Because they're just little minor things, like a little bit of crowding that we fixed and just minor, very minor things that we asked him to fix, and he fixed graciously, and that's why you have the information you have.
So I have a question. I don't have the envelope in front of me, but when somebody sends back their application, their completed application, do they need to affix mail, or is it the mail is paid for?
It's paid for.
Okay, because there is a part in there that talks about affixing additional postage if needed, and I thought that might be confusing.
I didn't see anything about that.
I think it's meant for military, but it shows up. Let me see if I can find exactly where it is.
Open mail.
I'm not sure which version it's on, but I'm looking.
But I think if we're adding postage, that would be something the city would pay. It wouldn't be something the voter had to pay, right, David? If it came to the post office box and they said for some reason it needed additional payment, that would be something that we paid. We had a couple of those during the last election.
It says on, look, I can't see which page it is. It's on the second page under return your voted mail-in ballot. Under it says US mail, extra postage may be required. Take your voted mail-in ballot. So that's for the ballot, the mail-in.
Right, yeah.
Mhm.
So the application is paid for, but the ballot is not paid for, right?
I thought last time mail-in ballots were paid for.
No, we paid for the ballots.
We did.
But
We
I
did.
guess if you print it out, if you get a ballot by email,
We don't do
You don't
that.
get them by email.
okay. So the federal you can, the state you do, and then you have to put your own postage on it.
Right, but I'm
Okay.
just clarifying that
Eileen, in the section that you're looking at, it is the overseas mail. The next section down, and they talk about if you're mailing it through a foreign mail system, add enough postage. So perhaps it needs to say above where extra. Then that says US mail, extra postage.
yeah, I
maybe.
just don't think,
Right. To get it to our country.
right, I think it should be clear that your mail-in ballot can be sent back with postage paid.
But if they're sending it from a foreign entity, a foreign mailbox, they're not going to necessarily allow that.
Yeah, but so it clarifies that. Well, I
Says
think
that.
to Eileen's point, it's in the US mail section on page 2. It says there's a US mail section. It says extra postage may be required. Take your voted mail ballot to the post office and add exact postage or put 2 stamps on it to guarantee delivery. When I think we're saying that that's not necessary.
So can we take that out, or, I mean, what, Regina?
We can do that. Remove with correction. We can do that.
Okay. And is there another place in there where it's stated, just for clarification, that you don't, that it's already paid for, postage is paid? I keep losing it.
It's in the box on the outside of the envelope. It says no postage necessary if mailed in the United States,
Yeah,
in the box.
Right, okay. Is it anyplace else that you can see?
Now,
And on the back, on the return ballot envelope, it says first class pre-sorted US postage paid permit number 320.
Okay, all right, okay.
so we'll fix that. US mail, we'll take out that extra postage requirement. And then we will leave the overseas part alone. So we're just gonna edit the US mail section, correct?
Correct.
Verifying we're on the same page.
yes.
All right. So, perfect.
Okay. So,
I had a question about this same document, Eileen.
oh, go ahead.
The dates to return the ballot application are the same as the election dates. I just wanted to confirm that that is accurate. I could see a scenario where it is, but also it seems like someone couldn't feasibly return it and then get a mailed ballot through the mail. I'm sorry, I'm looking on page 2 above just comparing the dates and to submit the mail-in ballot application to the return your voted mail-in ballot.
It does. With Annapolis, we have so if it's a local ballot in Annapolis, we have a bipartisan pair that can run the ballot out to the voter that day. So if it's a local ballot, we actually can take the ballot to them that day if we needed to. So that's
Yeah.
a bit of a,
That's the staff that will be in our office. And if,
That's right.
that we call them at large in the city of Annapolis, and we'll have, like David said, we will have a bipartisan pair in the office. And if they call and they're, like, say, if they're in a center or in the hospital, the bipartisan team would work with the county judges in our office and put a packet together, and they would go out together to have the voter vote
Okay,
and bring it back to the office.
thank you for clarifying.
Mhm.
Anything else on this particular?
Madam Chair, David Altman has his hand raised in the attendees.
Sure. Yes, David. I'm sorry, Daniel.
Daniel.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Dan.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to touch on Liam's question. I believe that is a change we need to make to those two dates. It should be the Friday before each of the primary and general election days, because at that point we would move into the emergency absentee period, where that's a separate application altogether. And that's where you were talking about having our uh, people on standby at the office who are ready to assist with that process. But to Liam's point, right, for someone to bring an application in the day of the primary and general, we wouldn't, it's a different process for getting them an emergency absentee versus them using this. This is the regular mail-in ballot application. So I believe the dates to correct there would be, I think September 12th and October 31st would be the Friday before the primary and general election. So that's a correction we'll need to make as well, along with what you've already discussed.
So if someone, I thought that in the past, though, if the Monday before an election, somebody could still come in and do their application and get a mail-in ballot. And ideally, they would submit it at that time, but they didn't have to. They could just put it in a drop box or the next day.
Yes, yeah, that's correct. I think the way it worked. So if you look at the top, that first page of the application, there's a a line there at the top that says these instructions concern regular mail-in ballots. There are special instructions for emergency mail-in ballots. And so you're right, somebody on that Monday or Tuesday on election day would use the emergency application and they could then return that. I mean, I guess really the distinction we need to make is that somebody, um, it's a different process, and we're not going to, of course, mail somebody a mail-in ballot if they submit it after the 12th or the 31st in this case. So I looked at the 2021 application before this meeting, and that is how it was on that. Those are the dates that were used in that application. And I know it was a little different. Everyone got a mail ballot then, but it looks like going back, that was the cutoff, was the Friday before. And then, if someone hasn't submitted an application by then, now we're looking at doing Monday or Tuesday for the emergency absentee, which would mean, of course, we're sending that ballot out to them Monday or Tuesday, not mailing it because there won't be time
Right.
to. And I guess that's really just the distinction so that they understand it's a different process. They're not going to receive a ballot in the mail, which I assume they will know if they're getting their application in that late. They probably already realize that it's going to be a little bit of a different process to get that mail-in ballot.
Okay. So just for clarification, so I'm looking at submit your mail-in ballot application. I'm looking at that section. So which dates are you proposing we need to change?
So it would be, let's see, if you mail your mail-in ballot application, let's see. I guess really it's going to be both the mail or take your or I guess really it's going to be the mail-in part is changed. I think the question is how do we make the distinction between regular? Because again, at the beginning of this application, it says this is for regular mail-in ballots. So really, I mean, I don't know if I'm getting a little too technical here, but if they miss that deadline, then now they're requesting an emergency absentee ballot. And I guess for our purposes, it's really the same ballot. But I guess it's just about making the distinction that they're going to need to come in person to City Hall to request the emergency absentee, and then of course they're going to be receiving a ballot that Monday or Tuesday. It's not going to be mailed to them. So maybe that goes. Maybe there needs to be a little bit more of
This-
an
this is-
edit here, even to the beginning part of this application, because we are kind of right off the bat saying, hey, this is a different application for regular mail ballots versus the emergency.
Right. And my understanding is we only counted emergency mail-in ballots on the day of the election. Otherwise, all the way up to the day of the election, it was the regular. You could walk in, fill out an application and submit it. But I see what you're saying.
I thought that since you wouldn't be able to mail something on a Friday, say around 3 o'clock, and guarantee that it get to someone on Tuesday, that was Friday was the last day for regular. I mean, the Thursday. Well, yeah. Well, yeah. I think you guys kind of need to figure out when is the last day you can logically see putting something in the mail and it reaching the voter.
I think maybe we also need to look at code, because I think it may be identified in code. Ashley, do you know offhand
She's
I do not know it offhand. I can check. I don't know it off the top of my head. I would think it would be in our calendar though, because that calendar we always do usually references.
Yeah, it says the city shall issue emergency mail-in ballot to eligible voters. The process shall run from 8:30 a.m. till 4:30 p.m. on Monday, September 15th. And then September 16th for the primary, and then the Monday and Tuesday for the general. So the regular mail-in process ends on that Friday.
I'm
And then
sorry.
Monday and
Did it-
Tuesday is when we start accepting the emergency applications.
I'm sorry, David, what did it say that it went up? What was the verbiage that said it would go up to the 15th?
It's code section 4.28.100C. The city of Annapolis shall. Where did it say that?
Um, Can I just say something? And looking at our calendar, if you go to September the 12th, 2025, it says deadline for receipt of regular application for absentee ballots. And that is Friday, September the 12th.
And what does it say for the general?
Okay. Um,
Probably October 31.
yeah, whatever the Friday is prior to the election.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what does it say on the 15th and the 3rd? What type of applications or what kind of mail-in ballots can be done then?
You have to do the emergency mail-in ballot.
Emergency.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is the third, okay.
So I think just to sum this up, all the dates need to be switched to the 31st for the general and the 12th
For the primary.
the primary, both the mail and if you take your ballot into the city hall, because that process would be the regular, then a ballot would be mailed out. So the emergency would start after the
Friday, whatever the Friday is, yeah.
Okay. Any questions about that? Or other comments?
Madam Chair, Michelle Whitaker is here now.
Okay, all right, we'll finish this up. Okay. Anything else on that form?
Nothing for me.
Good.
Okay, can I then have a motion to accept it with the changes that have been noted?
I move that the Board of Supervisors of Elections accept the instructions and envelopes for the election mailing to city voters with the changes so made during this meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so moved. Okay. David, do you mind if we take a pause and do the comments and then we'll move back into finishing?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
Go ahead.
a little bit more with that. All right, let's go ahead and bring Ms. Whitaker on.
Hello. Can you hear me
Hi.
okay?
Yes, hi, Ms. Whitaker.
Good to
I'm
see you.
Eileen Leahy. I'm the chair, and so we're here with a number of people, including our board, the city clerk, and members of the Office of Law, and also from the County State Board of Elections. So we received your request to make comments. We're happy to have you do that. We do have a 4-minute limit, which I will give you a heads up after about 30 seconds left. So if you want to start, just state your name and your address.
Sure. My name is Michelle Whitaker. I'm the Executive Director for Ranked Choice Voting Maryland. My address is 8484 Georgia Avenue in Silver Spring, Maryland. That I just wanted to join the meeting and offer a few comments as the City Council will be introducing legislation soon related to ranked choice voting, and wanted to provide any additional input that might be worthwhile for the clerk and city staff, as well as for the Board of Supervisors in that process. And I'm glad that there are also members of the County Board of Elections and staff that are helpful in terms of any coordination that might be related to that. The main things that I want to just talk about, and I know the final language is being reviewed and I think will be submitted soon. I'm not sure what the exact introduction date will be, but the purpose of the bill is obviously to allow for the use of ranked choice voting in elections where there will be more than two candidates running. There's information that we can provide in addition if it's needed by the board on how sample ballots can look with using our equipment. If you haven't had this information shared before, the current equipment used by the state and used by Anne Arundel County is compatible with ranked choice voting elections. So it can produce ranked choice voting ballots for a contest that have ranked choices in them, along with contests that have a single choice, like you're saying yes or no to a referendum question or anything like that. And the equipment that we use can also scan the ballot data and store that data. The additional piece that the city would need to make sure that it has available and that board staff are trained in using is the tabulation tool that is through a federally tested tool from the Ranked Choice Voting Resource Center. And that tool allows for the tabulation to be done based on the city's requirements. So it is customized for the purpose of your elections and how you handle how voters rank their ballots, how you handle different situations that may occur in terms of write-in votes, and when you eliminate the process of eliminating candidates based on, their vote share after the first round and multiple rounds going forward. So there's lots of information to share on that. Mostly what I wanted to do is just make sure that I could touch base with you as things are approaching and that we had time to discuss it and present any information that would be worthwhile for the board to see, for staff to be able to review and to help with that process. And I'm happy to come back during a future session where you may have more of this on your official agenda and be able to have our election admin experts who have worked on ranked choice voting elections in other states and are former or current election administrators in other states and have used ranked choice voting and are familiar with talking to other election administrators about the process of both implementing the election, reviewing the technical pieces around that, and supporting voter education. And on voter education, the last piece that I wanted to share is that we hear the
About 30 seconds left.
Thank you. The Ranked Choice Voting Resource Center is committed to helping with voter outreach, and we're a coalition that includes the League of Women Voters, Common Cause Maryland, and a number of groups across the state that are committed to making sure that voters know what ranked choice voting is and how to rank their ballots. So thank you for the time, and I appreciate the work that you all do.
Right on the button. Very good. All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Whitaker. I do want to stress that anything that is being put forth at the city level for legislation does not impact this election. It is looking at future elections in the city of Annapolis. So we will not be having ranked choice voting for this election. And I'm just mentioning that for clarification for voters that may be viewing us today. So, all right. Well, thank you. Okay. All right. Back to David.
Absolutely. Where were we?
All right. Well, we just finished the regular mail-in ballot instructions. I believe we can go. We have the things that are on our list are the permanent mail-in voter status, the election night results return process, roles and responsibility, and the other addition for today was the Annapolis ballot packet. Do we want to just go ahead and do the Annapolis ballot packet?
Sure.
So, any comments on that? That's the one that we just added for today.
It also contains the mailing, extra postage verbiage. Page 4 in a box about overseas mail and US mail.
Mm-hmm.
We can remove that.
Okay, so you'll make the same change?
Mhm.
I do have a question. When it talks about help, people that require help or need assistance, it seems to keep it pretty much to people that are, I actually had the verbiage that it's blind or unable to fill out the ballot. What does that pertain? I mean, what about people that may need assistance due to language or assistance due to literacy? I mean, is it only the assistant, only if you are blind or have visual
No.
impairment?
No, the form covers all forms of assistance, but basically it wants to document and it wants to make sure that folks aren't using the four restricted types of um, folks to help them. And I think that was party officials and union officials and things like that.
Right. But the box says if you are blind, physically disabled, or have impaired vision and are unable to mark a mail-in ballot, you can get assistance. So it doesn't, it's not as broad. I mean, is that typical for it to be that specific? Or is there another way?
Yeah, I think we use the state form as the template. So that's taking what the state does.
I mean, I don't know I mean, is it even possible to say something like, or other type of assistance or? I mean, people are taking an oath, so. I mean, what would you do at the county or the state level if someone said, I need to assist someone because they can't read?
We would have them use the oath of assistance.
Mhm.
If they can't read, they can make their mark. And then the person, I think that there is actually a procedure for that. And I believe that the person that's assisting has to make their initials next to the mark of the person that cannot read or write. But you can use the form.
Okay. I have to look at the form again to. All right, I mean, the final checklist just says if someone, did you have somebody help you? So I'm not
Mhm.
gonna make a big thing about it. All right, any other questions from anybody about the packet?
Just the, so it asks for, you may be asked for, some voters may be asked for a Maryland driver's license or the last four of their social security number.
Mhm.
If they don't have a driver's license, they don't have an ID, they don't have a social security number, they're asked for a bill,
Yeah.
a 3 month, bill from 3 months ago with an address on it and their name. But how does that prove citizenship? Just a bill.
It's proving their residency. So certain first-time voters need to present ID. Um, so that's what we're doing there. If somebody fills out their voter registration application and doesn't give us a social security number or driver's license number, those are the folks that have to that have to present it to the election judge when they go in to vote for the first time. Because normally when we get the driver's license or social security number on the form, we can use that to verify their citizenship status right away.
So if you do the residency, then is that a provisional ballot? I mean, if you do a bill,
It might be depending on the dates of when you registered to vote, and also if you have the document, like if you don't have the documents we need, if you don't have the driver's license or Social Security card.
Right. So that's, yeah. So if they only bring in a bill that shows residency, then they would get a provisional. Right. And then that would have to be checked by who?
Well, if it's a provisional ballot, our team in our office processes those. So the way that it would work is that every voter who gets a provisional ballot fills out an application, and then the day after the election, we will go through those and we'll look up all those voters and MD voters, all those people that filled out applications and MD voters. We'll verify the applications filled out completely, verify the person is eligible to receive the provisional ballot, verify the election judges did everything okay, and then we'll make a recommendation to you as the Annapolis board to accept or reject, and then
Okay.
it's up to you guys to either say yes or no.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anything else
No.
in this packet? Nope. All right. Do I have a motion to accept the packet with the changes proposed?
Motion to accept the 2025 City of Annapolis municipal election mail-in ballot packet with the amendments proposed.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so moved. All right. Now on to permanent mail-in voter status. I don't think for some of these things we have any attachments except for the roles and responsibilities. So
That
that
that is on there
correct?
that's on there based on your question. So I think David just wanted to respond to that.
Okay, so permanent mail-in voter status.
So we had a meeting with the State Board of Elections after we spoke to you about your plans, if you would want it or not. Ultimately, the State Board has told us they can't provide that service. So
Okay,
if folks want a ballot, they need to send us an application and we will process it.
okay. Well, I think that's what we thought it was going to be. So,
Yeah.
okay. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, and then the next part is election night results return process.
Yeah, so this was in response to some of your questions about how we could make this process more efficient on election night instead of having everybody come up to Glen Burnie. So what we're proposing is a change from how we've done it previously. What we're proposing is that the Annapolis board would station themselves probably at City Hall. And then we would have the chief judges drive the signed results, the official results folders over to you guys. We could have somebody there with a laptop that compiles the results from the 8 polling places. It looks like you'd only have one race so far that's going to be citywide, which is the mayor's race. So that will make compiling the results fairly easy. And then all the other documents and all the other minutia from the polling place, we would have our staff, our person that's going to be there that night helping close up, just drive that back to the warehouse in Glen Burnie. So you would end the night with the 8 official results folders, each of them containing the results from the voting units that have been signed by the bipartisan pair of chief judges. And then you would use that to add, you would use those totals tapes to add up all the totals from voting units. And then at your canvas, we can provide the canvasser sheets that we normally do. So we thought that would be quicker on election night and help just kind of expedite that whole process.
That'd be great.
Well, but these are non-official, right?
Oh, yeah, it would be unofficial. You don't have official results until you conduct your canvas.
Okay,
Until
so,
you certify your results. So this would be
Okay.
unofficial, but
I may have missed it, but I wasn't aware that the Board of Supervisors of Elections requested it to be different than what we've done in the past, but
I
Um,
think somebody at one of the initial planning meetings just asked if there was a way that we could do that,
okay.
so there wasn't as much travel.
So in the past, just for Debbie and Liam, we would be up at the board at Glen
Mhm.
Burnie and would be there for the day, and then the tallies would come in, and then it would be phoned into City Hall to have it posted. But I also believe that there was a number of things that we had to sign while we were up.
Yeah,
at the office.
that's the canvasser sheets. We
Okay.
can make a version of that that we have you sign when we get the totals tapes back from the polling places. And then when we have the actual canvas where we certify your results, we'll have the official the version that goes to the clerk of the court.
So would we still come up the next day to Glen Burnie to start the canvassing or just wait until the next week?
No, the first, so you have to convene on Wednesday, and then I believe we're going to convene the first canvas on Thursday, the Thursday after election day. And then the final canvas will be the Tuesday after the election day for your provisionals.
Um, I guess one of the things that I'm feeling that by being at City Hall, we might lose is the ability to ask questions and get clarification from the county staff in real time. Because I find that the staff and being near the staff can be very helpful, particularly as phone calls come in, as the press starts contacting. So,
We
I-
could have you we could have you at we could have you at the Board of Elections during election day, during the day itself. And then around, let's see, your polls close at 8 o'clock. So maybe around 7 or 7:30, head to City Hall to meet the chief judges.
I kind of like that idea better.
Okay, that's
I
fine.
mean, but I'm just speaking for myself. I mean, um, like I said, I like having the proximity to the county staff for their expertise and for questions and,
Yeah, we'll be running a help desk on election day
Mhm.
here. So
right.
um,
Where were you in the past on election night, Eileen?
At the county.
We were at the county. We were at the county from 5:30 until everything came in. So what David was saying, so the election judge, the chief judges would bring everything up to the county. So we would have to wait until those tallies came in and then the
Right.
tallies would be sent down. So there was a delay in regards to the tallies um uh from the in-person voting that night. So if I'm hearing this correctly, by being at City Hall, that would make that, we would get that information sooner and be able to get it out sooner.
correct.
And the
Okay.
chief
Everybody
judges
would
wouldn't
be
have to drive to Glen Burnie, right?
also correct. Yes.
Yeah, because that's a long day. I've done that. I mean, that's a long day. And the last thing you want to do if you live in Annapolis is drive up there and drive back after you've been at the polls since dawn.
But aren't
Yeah.
they bringing other materials back, or is it just those sheets?
Yes, they were bringing the other materials back. So what we're proposing is we're going to have somebody at your polling places helping close. So then that was one of our staff members. So we would just have that person drive everything back to the Board of Elections that night.
Okay.
So they
So
check
this
in,
would make
they would
it,
check in here and
Mhm.
essentially clock out and drop off all their materials.
Okay, so this would make it easier for the election judges in
Oh, I
particular.
think so. I
The
think
chief
definitely
judge. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
probably makes it easier for you guys as well, because then you don't have to go from Glen Burnie to home. You can just you certify your 8 polling places and then you guys can go home. You're right in Annapolis.
So
Sweet.
if we were to be in City Hall for either the whole day or for just in the evening, where would the likely place be?
I defer to Regina.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
Regina.
asking Regina. Regina.
Let me just say, we don't have space in our office for our at-large judges that are going to be here for the day. So we're planning on staging them across the street, right behind where you're going to place the drop box in that office. And it's not a very big office. So
Would the conference room be available?
what conference room?
The mayor's conference room upstairs.
I could check. I'm pretty sure after the building closes at 4:30, it would be available, but during the workday, I don't know.
Right. I kind of like the idea of a hybrid of if we go up and stay up at Glen Burnie in the morning and stay there until say
Mhm.
7 o'clock, drive down to City Hall and then await the tallies and do the final wrap up there. Since it is after, and if we could, then have space available either in the elections office or up in the conference room, that seems that it might work as opposed to one or the other. Thoughts from anybody?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're all driving. Oh, we're not driving to Glen Burnie the next day. The next day we're just gonna be in Annapolis, right?
Yeah, because you have to be sworn in as the Board of Canvassers.
Right.
So we're not really saving ourselves a trip, but we're saving all the election judges some time in their trip.
Right, and it does get us out earlier as opposed to waiting until, maybe sometimes 11 o'clock.
Because
Well-
your election judges have to drive to Glen Burnie to
Right.
meet you guys. This,
Yeah, I definitely think that that's at least a hybrid is better than the previous status. And I mean, I don't have as much experience as you, Eileen, but I would be supportive of trying to find space. I mean, there's only three of us somewhere all day, but I can also drive to Glen Burnie. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm with Liam. I mean, if we can stay in our city and do our work here, that's my preference. But I'll defer to you too, Eileen, with the experience of how many questions come in during the day and if the three of us need to be there and we can't do it by phone or email or whatever. I'd rather be in the city during election day is my preference, even
Right.
though the county is administering it.
Well, usually what we've done in the past during the day is we've rotated and gone down and also visited the various polling places. So actually one of us usually would start out in the city, go to a couple. So
Yeah, I like that idea, being here and having boots on the ground here.
right, which we can do. I guess I'm just referring to having the ability to answer questions and have if the press is there, that sort of thing. So that's why I'm in favor. Maybe what we could do is prepare to do a hybrid for the primary, and then if we need to change it for the general. I mean, we do have the ability during the election. There is enough downtime that if you need to be working on work or doing some other types of things, there is the ability to do that. We don't have that ability doing the canvas, but I'd be in favor of just trying the hybrid to see how it works and then either do the same thing for the general, or if we feel that we need to change it for the general, do it then.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, we can still think about it. I mean, well, we can decide as we get closer if we need
Do
to.
you have a preference, Regina or Ashley? And Teresa, because I know it does impact you all as far as being up in Glen Burnie.
I'm fine with whatever you guys want to do.
What do you prefer?
What do I prefer?
Yeah.
I would prefer to be in Annapolis because while you guys are upstairs, I can get some of the work done in my office.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because we do have, it's end of term and there are lots of things moving around and we could kind of catch up because it is a lot of downtime during the election day where there's nothing for me to do when I'm sitting at the county. I mean, I could take my Chromebook up there and work if you guys chose to be there, but I'd rather work from my two-screen desk.
Right. Well, you usually can stay down there too and have Teresa up with us and we can communicate also. You
Yep,
have to be with us.
we can do that also.
It makes no difference to me. I live halfway between Annapolis and Glen Burnie, so it's 50 cents one way, 50 cents the other.
Right. Except the county does put out a nice buffet for lunch.
Yeah, they
Well,
feed us.
let's talk meal.
By the way, David, we do have a budget for food. So if we come to see you, you can buy some food.
Absolutely.
All right.
So what do you guys want to do? I think I like the hybrid. Let's go see David in the morning and then leave David at 7 o'clock and come back to Annapolis. At least he'll feed us
Mhm.
and we can come back and we'll still be around here to close up and that'll help the judges.
All
So
right.
what, under this scenario, what time are we transporting ourselves back to Annapolis?
Because of traffic from Glen Burnie, I don't think about a 6:30 might be a good time to leave.
Right.
I live in Glen Burnie.
The chief judges won't get to City Hall until 8:30, probably at the earliest, maybe.
Okay. We just
Oh.
don't want you to
What do you
get
think?
stuck in any traffic.
Right, but I mean, we can, yeah, I mean, I think if we left at 6:37, it would be plenty of time to get down
Mhm.
there. And anything having to do really with questions or concerns, usually we're past that. Is there a specific time you're thinking of, Liam?
No, I was just,
But I have one question. What about the challenger or watchers? We have to notify them of where you're going to be.
the more I think about this, the more I think I think being, I don't know, I haven't done this before, but I think being in Annapolis makes some sense. And I don't know. We don't really need to decide this necessarily today. I think we know
Right.
we're gonna do the hybrid, or we're at least gonna meet the head canvassers in Annapolis. So where we are specifically isn't pertinent to today's meeting necessarily.
But they would have to notify the judges of where to go.
No, I'm saying we're gonna meet the judges in Annapolis no matter what. We're either gonna stay in
Okay.
Annapolis or do the hybrid.
Correct. So is that helpful, David?
Yeah, I think we can work it out.
Right.
Either way, I think we can make it work.
Right. I'm just trying to think for ease of communication during the day. If a question comes up and is called into the helpline in Glen Burnie, then Glen Burnie has to call us in Annapolis
Mm-hmm.
to get an answer as opposed to being in the same room. That's what I'm anticipating. Or
How many help calls did we get last election?
I don't know, it was a couple hundred.
I'd have to check. I
Yeah,
don't know off the top of my head.
many of them have to do with people calling to see where their polling place is. We have had incidences in the past when there has been something happening at the polling locations that needs to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
Things like maybe a candidate doesn't know that they can't buy coffee for the election judges, or there's a disagreement that might get phoned in. So those are my sorts of things that I'm thinking of.
So if it's a technical question, like where do I vote? The county staff would answer that, right? They would handle that. But if there was an issue at a polling place, who handles physically an issue at a polling place?
I think it's the chief judges, right? Aren't the chief judges in charge of the polling place?
They are, but if there was two people fighting or something, they would probably
Oh,
call the police and
Right.
have the police handle it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't
Yeah. It
intervene
just seems like
themselves.
we should be here. It seems like we should be by our people and by our places to be able to react or visit or go or, you know, I mean, if there's downtime, I wouldn't mind going around to look at turnout, to look at logistics. I mean, I've been a judge at a couple most, you know, at some of our places and, you know, over the years, but I wouldn't mind being here to see how the signage, you know, just to go around and
Well, we
and
do
see
that
how things are
anyway.
moving.
We do that anyway.
But if we're up at Glen Burnie, we can't do it here.
Yeah, we do it. We take turns. We wrote that's what we've done in the past. I'm not saying
Yeah,
so.
no,
but
cool. That's
that
good.
that's been a rotation for doing that. So, all right. Do you need us to decide, David, tonight, or can we give you an answer on Friday?
No, you can give us an answer later.
Okay. But I think we agree that we're fine with the end tallies occurring at City Hall. It just depends on where we're going to be during the day. Does
All
that
right,
make
no worries.
Do I have that right? Okay, and then we'll get that out to the challengers and watchers. Okay. It may be that the press will end up being at City Hall as opposed to.
You could always send a notification out via Mitchell to say that this is where we're gonna be at the end
Right,
of the
they'll
night.
need to know too. Okay,
Mhm.
okay, all right. Okay, next thing for the agenda then is roles and responsibilities. And so David and Regina, is there anything changed here as far as what we've done in the past?
When I was looking at it, looked fairly simple. It's just informational. It shows you dates and things.
So do we need to look at that since we changed some dates in regards to the emergency?
No, because we're just updating the form. We didn't
Okay.
actually change the dates of the actual emergency period.
Okay, so there's not a date for that on this document?
There is, but it didn't change.
Okay,
We just changed the form itself, so we
Gotcha.
can fix that. As far as roles and responsibilities go, so far I think we've been doing a pretty good job staying on the same page and um so knock on wood that we keep going through, but I think that it's been working so far.
Mhm.
Are the election judges all hired yet?
They have 90%.
Yeah, we have the judges. Yes. We have the judges in place, so we won't have any vacancies. Um, we were holding off on officially hiring them to get with SBE, but we might close that door and just hire them and get them all trained, just because so we don't run out of time. But as far as vacancies, you guys don't have any vacancies. You're perfectly fine.
And parity, do we have the right amount of,
Let me check. We were trying to get 50-50. Let me check and see if they have a statistic on that.
yeah.
I might have to email Regina with that stat afterwards.
Mhm.
All right,
We
thank you.
we are trying to keep it 50-50.
Right.
I think that's been a challenge in the past sometimes.
Down in that part of the county, yes, it is.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't see much come out about it. Sometimes I get a letter. I didn't get anything this time,
Okay,
you know, about asking to maybe, I mean, I can't anyway, but I didn't hear much talk about it.
all right. Any other questions about the roles and responsibilities? I didn't look specifically. David, are the dates that when we have to start coming in to do reviews of things, are they on here or they still need to be determined? Things like when we have to review the machines and that sort of thing.
We'll get you an updated calendar with the logic and accuracy dates.
Okay. So those are dates. So just for Debbie and Liam's sake, there's a date for the machines.
Right. So what's going to
It's in the-
happen is we're going to have, after you have your voter registration deadline and your candidate filing deadline, we're going to have a date when we're going to basically put the election, install the election on all the voting machines. You only have 8 for this election, and then we have 16 electronic poll books. So we actually think that we can program all your voting units in one day. We'll invite you guys up to watch us if you guys want to watch the process. You're more than welcome to. And then we'll have a public logic and accuracy test where we will invite the public to come and see the voting units, see the forms that we used. They can ask questions, or they can review all the forms that we used and see if they see anything that causes them concerns. Usually the public LNA, knock on wood, usually it's pretty cut and dry. As far as being here for the programming of the voting units, it's not required, but again, it's, if you guys want to see it, it's available for you. We're not trying to keep it secret.
Well, I think it's helpful if we know, so we have the option of going up.
Absolutely.
When is it that we go, which one of these is when you also go through the equipment? The,
Public LNA.
Mhm.
okay. All right. Had another question, now I can't remember. It'll come to me when we're done.
The way it
I think
always
those-
is.
I think those logic and
Oh,
accuracy.
I remember what it is. So in the poll, speaking of the poll books, in the last election, you all needed to close the poll books or stop entering the receipt of mail-in ballots. At first, it was going to be 10 days before the election, and then I think we were able to get it down to something like 4 or 5 days before.
Yeah.
What's going to happen with this election? What's the plan?
So I'm gonna try and do a last minute update at the after your regular ballot period ends. So that would mean only the people that fill out the emergency ballots wouldn't be in the poll books. So that would be the folks using the 16th, 15th, and the 16th for the primary election, and then I believe the 5th and the 6th for the general election. So what we're doing is what we call a bulk update. So your voter registration deadline, that's about in 30 days. That's everybody that's registered to vote for the election. We'll have that, and then we will update that as we get the mail-in voters, and we'll try and put that in as close to the election day as possible. And then
So how
anyone
close do you think you'll be able to be
that Monday.
that Monday? Okay, so that's a big difference from last time. That's great. And there was a glitch in the last election in regards to when we had a couple of the double votes. Has that been rectified? That was when it didn't show up. They put in a mail. Well, I guess it's because of this poll book. So that would be rectify it.
Right, we're trying to close the window.
Right. Okay. So that would take care of it.
But anybody that did give us a mail-in ballot and then try and vote on election day, we would have the mail-in ballots. They wouldn't be able to vote twice. They
Right.
would try to, and we would catch them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
then
Well, this is a different scenario. I mean, this is a different scenario anyway.
Okay.
So, okay. All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that the poll books can be updated closer to the election. Okay. Any other questions for David? Did we lose Richard and Dan? Rich, there's Rich. Okay.
Well, we're
Do you
still
all
here.
have any questions for us?
No.
Not
Yeah.
not for me. I think we're good.
Yeah, just if things come up, just keep our lines of communication open.
So, Dan, are you still doing the polling location assessments?
It's done.
No, that is now Rebecca Browder with our office who does the polling places.
Oh, okay. And has that been done, or when will that be done?
Done.
Been done.
It's done.
Yeah, we did that earlier. Once we got your polling place list.
Okay. Did it include I don't know when it was done, but I know that there's had been some observations now that at City Hall, now that the entrance to City Hall is the side entrance and not the front entrance.
Yeah,
Make sure that that was evaluated.
it
'Cause there a
was.
question about
that.
lighting, and also was the camera, but pointed towards the door as opposed to pointed away.
I know it was done. She came down to pick up some mail and she did the site survey while she was here.
Okay. All right. Well, I just wanted to raise that because that had been raised before. And I assume that all the drop boxes are going to go back into the same places as before.
Yes.
Okay, and we've got the police are gonna lend us the one camera for Mount
Yeah.
Olive.
The IT department is working to set up the cameras for the polling precinct, and it's only at Mount Olive, I think they had the mobile camera.
Yes, I think every
Yeah,
place.
every other polling precinct drop box is set underneath a camera.
Right, okay. So IT is taking care of that. Okay,
Yes.
okay. All right. Any other questions for anybody? Got a lot done. All
We've
right.
been busy. Thank you, David.
Yeah,
that,
thank you very
David.
much.
Thank you,
thank you
Rich
so much.
and Dan.
And Rich and Dan, everybody at the county, thank you so
Yep.
much.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I think we have hit everything on the agenda. All right. One question I did have, I know we've got this meeting now on the 11th at 2:30 at Glen Burnie. Looking forward to some of our meetings. We will be having a meeting in August. I'd like to propose that we do it in person because we will have gotten some of the campaign finance reports in by then. So it will give us an opportunity to actually look at them in person. So can we see if that's possible, Regina?
It is.
Okay.
You just had to give us notice.
Okay. Speaking of the campaign fund report, has that been communicated? I mean, where are we with that?
Their IT is in the process of updating it to our page.
Okay. And then when it goes on the page, the candidates will receive the letter about it.
Did you send us a letter, I think?
Yes, I sent a letter several weeks.
Once we verified it, it's posted and we look at it and make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be, we will definitely send an email to the candidates.
Okay, can you send us an email when it goes on the website so we know and can take a
As
look
soon
at
as
it?
they notify me, I will definitely
Okay,
notify
that'd be
you.
great. That would be great. All right, anything else? Anybody?
Good.
We're gonna notify Mr. Tom about his petition and the meeting on Friday. So we'll do that. And David, we'll send you the petition as soon as we finish with this meeting.
Oh, perfect.
Or tomorrow morning, because I looked at the time. We'll send it to you first thing in the morning.
That works.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you, everybody, for your flexibility about meeting on Friday. And we'll knock that out. Do we have any updates on, or have heard anything more about the petitions that
No.
being looked at? No. Okay, so
Not as of today.
okay. Great. Anything else, Debbie, Liam?
So when is our regular July meeting? Is that on the 17th?
Yes,
Oh, that's good. Yeah, it's 17th.
Okay. And that one we are thinking about doing in person, or are we
No,
talking about August?
that's virtual. August will be
virtual.
in person.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
That's, I think, the 21st.
Mhm.
I'm gonna try to be at the one on the 17th, but depending on if I can find a quiet place where I'm gonna be,
Okay.
I may not be as accessible, or I can do it by phone. I just haven't done it that way before.
Okay.
All right, well, if there's no other business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
4:20 on July
Can I get a second?
7.
All right. Are you seconding it, Debbie?
Yes.
All right, so all in favor of adjourning? I think it's now 4:21.
Aye.
All right, aye, all in favor. All right, thank you, everybody.